Hi everyone, my name is Mark. Today we will talk about the synergies between the data vault and AI, because AI is a topic that comes more and more. Here I'm working for dFakto. We've been implementing data vault for like the past 15 years. And so we started our AI journey like 2 years ago, and we saw a lot of synergies between those two technologies and methodologies, and we will go through different synergies that we have between those. So during this presentation, as I said, do not hesitate to ask your question directly in the chat. Have access to it. I will answer all the questions at the end of the presentation. It will be easier for me to follow through the presentation if I'm answering them at the end, but do not hesitate to write your question down in the chat. So at dFakto, we saw 3 different use cases with AI and data vault, and we will go through each of them today. The first one is how you can implement a data vault faster, and we will see one approach that we took at dFakto. Then we will see how the data vault can be the foundation of your AI platform, because you will see that to have a good AI agent, you need good qualitative data, and this is super important, and data vault help you design an AI platform based on your own data. It's super important. And then we will see how you can use the AI output as a source system of your data vault. And then I will show you one practical business case that we have currently at dFakto, Destinator, that's actually use all those three use cases to build a platform for event planners to help them decide which destination they can choose for their event. So our first use case, how can AI help you accelerate your data vault implementation? But first, I want to come back to the data vault and how it is done, because in the past, most people were implementing data vault manually. It's slow. You may make mistakes, human mistakes in the code, etc., etc. Then, and that's what we are doing at dFakto with bVault, we have an automation tool that helps you go faster for your implementation, but also reduce the risk of error, because you will automate all the code generation. And basically, it's like 8 times faster doing your data vault implementation with an automation tool. And now we are in the AI era, I would say, and we see that the AI, all the artificial intelligence is basically an accelerator for everything, good thing and bad things. And then what we saw is that we could use the automation tool with AI to help you implement a data vault faster while benefiting from the automation tool, its structure and the generation of the code. Because if you rely only on AI, you may have also mistake, because AI can hallucinate. You may have discrepancies inside the code that you will generate with an AI agent. And having the best of the both approaches, so the AI and the automation tool, is really helping developing your implementation, developing your data vault really faster. And then what we see is that you become more like a code reviewer than the one that will implement the data vault. First, I don't know what is your level in AI. We will see some basic concepts here. You don't have to be an expert, but I want to come back to different concepts that we will use in this presentation. The first one is, what is an agentic AI? Basically, it's a user that will ask a question in a natural language to an AI system, and the AI system will interpret that question, and it will make a plan. And with this plan, it will execute then the different tasks. And based on the output of the tasks, it can also analyze this output and change the plan execution. And at the end, the purpose is to answer that question in a natural language, so human readable language. And this is the purpose of agentic AI. The other advantage is that you can iterate on that, meaning that you can ask your first question, the AI will answer you, and then you can correct the AI, asking for changes and so on, until you have what you're expecting from the system. And you will see it's important in the demonstration that I will show you later. In the context of AI, you have something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. It's coming more and more in the conversation about AI. And basically, what it allows you to do is you can create an MCP server to integrate different tools, different source systems, and connect it to the AI system. You have different approaches to do that. You can do some direct API connection to the AI system and your tool. The problem is that you will have more and more tools. The AI system can be confused and choose the wrong tool. And if you need to change from one platform, AI platform, to another, you need to rebuild everything. With the MCP, you put all the logic inside your server, and then you can plug and play your MCP server to any agentic platform like N8N, Open Agent Builder from OpenAI, sorry, or directly to Claude Desktop if you want to. So it simplifies everything afterwards. And the other benefit from an MCP server is that you can optimize all the resources that you will provide to the AI systems, meaning that you will use less tokens, and therefore your AI platform will cost less than if you are just plugging all the classic API, I would say, of your tool directly to your AI system. And actually, that's what we did with bVault. So we built an MCP server for bVault. It's open source. You can check out on GitHub. We will provide the link afterwards. But basically, it allows us to control bVault, which is a data vault automation tool, to any AI agent platform. And as I said, it encapsulates all the API logic from bVault. So basically, the MCP server is using the bVault API. And it simplifies all the parameters, but also the responses. So it is optimized for AI agents. But I think that slides are good, but a demo is maybe more useful. So here I have a bVault, so our data vault automation platform. And we have different projects. And you see I have one project here, AI. And if I'm checking it, sorry, I see that I still have some hubs. Sorry about that. I'll just remove them so that we start with an empty model. So we have an empty model now, and we will build one. If you go to the documentation pages of bVault, you will have a tutorial with a data model you have here. So data model, you see you have one data model, and we will implement that data model with an AI agent. To do so, I have here a platform named Dust, but basically you can use any agentic builder that you have. It can be Claude Desktop, N8N, whatever. I use this one because we have this one available for dFakto employees. And I have this simple agent. If I check here the configuration of this agent, you see I have the system prompt. So all the instructions for the AI agents. Basically, what I'm doing here is I'm explaining the different concepts about the data vault, how we implement a data vault with bVault at dFakto. So first, checking the business requirements, checking the existing data model, and then you create the different entities that are missing, then the source system, and so on and so on. So basically, that's what we do at dFakto when we are implementing a data vault with bVault. And I give him some guidelines, and I gave it also a tool. So bVault MCP demo. So it's the MCP server of bVault. And just with that, I have an agent that is capable of interacting with bVault and create objects inside bVault. And so I have this simple prompt. So in the project AI, implement the data model described in the following tutorial and its pages. And it's basically the link that I just showed you. And when I'm doing that, so it will think. So as I explained earlier, it will make a plan. So you see here the plan, actually. It will browse the pages to understand the context, fetching all the information useful for the project. Then you see here it used the different tools inside the MCP server. So first it will fetch the project. It will, here it's still gathering all the requirements, and then it will propose me a plan to build the hubs and the links and so on. And you see you have here a way to interact. This is really important, that even if you are using an AI and whatever the context is, you need to be in charge of the output that will be generated. So here I'm using it as an accelerator because it can be time consuming to fill in all the metadata inside the data model, create all the entities. You saw here it's a small data model, but it works also with hundreds of entities as well. And so you see here, it proposed me the different hubs, the different links, and it waits for a consent before creating it. And or sometimes, yeah, in this case, actually, it just created the different hubs and links. But if I'm not happy with the result, I can still interact with the AI to remove the links that it created or create new ones, etc., etc. Because in the end, I need to ensure that everything is correct. So it finished. So I can go back to bVault. I refresh the page, and you see that we have our data model. I can show you graphically here. So I have the employees, the different employees. Here, the contract, the customer. So basically, everything created here. It just focused on the hubs and the links. So that's why we don't have the different satellites, but that's okay. You see the point? Here, with the AI, I have something that I can use. And in this case, for this demo, I will just stop here in the build module, so just the raw vault. But it's a super useful tool also to ask questions about your data model. So basically asking what are the main concepts of my data model. But for me, the most important part with this is it also helps you design your information mart, because it's aware of all the data models. And so you can easily design dimensions, facts, and so on based on your data model. And this is the part that is the most time consuming, because creating the hubs and the links is quite fast. But then when you move to the information marts, it can generate the different SQL codes, the transformations, and so on, based on your data model as well, because it has the context of everything inside bVault. So that's one way of how you can implement a data vault faster. Here is an important slide, because I just show you an AI agent. I just basically wrote one prompt and I didn't review anything in this case, but in a real case scenario, you need to ensure that everything is aligned with your standards, and you need to be responsible of the output. So what we see also is that the data vault methodology is a business methodology. So you need to create a business-oriented data model. This is really important because that's why we still need humans actually to align the different definitions, to ensure that the business concepts are well known inside the company, and so on. And this is something that human can do. But filling all the metadata basically is time consuming and it's not really useful intellectually, I would say. You can give it that part to an AI with some validation, of course. And so that's what we see. We see the collaboration between humans and machines like that. We see more and more AI also for the analysis part. There are some that are good, but you need to be sure with the data vault that you create a business data model and not a technical one. And for the moment, if you're just providing the API spec of your source system or the DDL of your source, maybe if you use an AI agent for that, you will end up with a technical data vault and not a business one. So that's why we prefer to leave the analysis for the humans and the implementation for the AI. So I will continue here on the second business case. So what we see more and more is companies that want to use their own data to build an AI platform. The MIT actually made research about that and found out that 95% of the AI initiatives fail to go in production. Actually, it's more that it fails to bring value. There are a lot of AI initiatives that just stay in the development process or go to production but don't bring any value. And this is because of three major problems. The first one is that you have data across multiple systems, and that's something that you will see Data Vault can help you with. And if you try to plug all the tools that you have, all the source systems that you have directly to your AI agent, the AI agent will make mistake because there are too many tools, too many different places where it can find the same data, for instance, and so on. So that's one of the problems. The second problem is that in the source system, you have bad qualitative data, I would say, and the garbage in, garbage out principle applies also to AI. And so if you feed the AI some wrong data, you will end up with wrong outputs. This is something that bVault can help with because bVault also includes a data quality module. We will see that in a few minutes. And the last thing is that you can provide as many data as you want to your AI system, but the AI system won't have the business context of your company. And this is really important because if you ask for if you just connect the AI system to your database, maybe if you are using ACP, for instance, the tables mean nothing, the columns mean nothing for a machine. Maybe you can provide the documentation as well if they have some that is clear. But most of the time, the source system implementation don't represent your company. And so you can ask question, the end user will ask question with their own language, so the language of the company, but the AI system won't find any data. That's also a problem of AI agent currently. And so how we fix these three problems? The first one is consolidation, and this is basically the methodology of Data Vault. The purpose of a Data Vault is to gather all the information inside one data model and use it for different outputs. And one output can be an AI platform. I won't go into details. This is not a webinar to explain what Data Vault is, but basically that's it. You have multiple source systems inside one model, and then you merge the information and provide enhanced and enriched data in your information marts to the different systems, BI, AI, and so on. So that's something that's the purpose of bVault, actually, is Data Vault automation tool. So the purpose of bVault is to design all the raw vault, the business vault information marts, and so on. The second one is the quality insurance. So bVault has a data quality module that helps you improve data quality over time by checking the data inside the raw vault because it's not transformed. And then you will just create an information mart with the data quality issues so that the data owners can fix the data quality issues inside the source systems and improve it over time. And so that's one way to ensure that all the data that you will feed your AI agent are good qualitative data, because otherwise your AI agent will provide you wrong answers, and people tend to trust more an AI agent than a dashboard. So it's even more important now than it was in the past. And the last thing is the semantic layer. So how an AI agent can understand the language of the users. And this is something that we can do with bVault, because in bVault you have metadata practically everywhere on the different tables, on the different entities, the columns, etc., to describe your model. And when you fill in all that metadata, you can also give it to the AI agent so that it understands all the context from the source system until the information mart part. You can explain what your data model is, and this is really important because it will help your AI agent to pick the correct concepts and correct data when it needs to answer your questions. And so that's what we did at dFakto. So for these three concepts, and actually what we were doing is just providing one information mart, basically one large text file put into a vector database, because the vector database allows you to do semantic research so that when a user is asking for a client, but in your data vault, you don't have clients, you have customers, then it can understand, because client and customers are semantically near, and so you can answer qualitative questions with a vector database. But what we saw is that it was not good at providing quantitative information and do aggregation of numbers, because basically when you are providing large text files, the text will be cut into small pieces, the chunks, and basically you can have chunks, quantitative information related to information near in the sentence, but not related to that part. And that's what we did is providing two different tools to our AI agents. One, first, the vector database to answer qualitative information and be able to do semantic research. And the second tool is providing access to the database itself for all the quantitative informations, because AI agents are quite capable of doing SQL queries. So basically, it can answer your question by generating the query and executing it directly in the database, so that it has the correct information, the correct numbers, even on large data sets. And that's what we did. And with that, we had a good agent that was capable of answering qualitative information, descriptive, attribute, text, and so on, but also the AI agent was also able to answer quantitative information and do aggregations and so on and so on. And that's how actually we build the platform that I will show you later. And we use bVault and the data vault approach to fix the different problems and to ensure that our agent was not hallucinating, using our own data and only our data that was verified, but also was able to answer any question in any language, because it can use the metadata inside the data vault, inside bVault, to answer the questions. And what we see more and more is that you have your platform, but now you want to use the AI as a source of your data vault, because AI can be good at extracting information from large text. You can also do sentiment analysis, so to classify the different objects that you will find in text or descriptions and so on. And so that's something that you can use, because what we saw is that most of the time source systems were APIs and databases that are quite structured. But now we have PDF files and so on, and we want to extract meaningful information from these information, because they are also a source of information. And with AI, you can easily extract what you need inside these unstructured documents. But this needs to be used as any other source systems, meaning that you need to historize everything so that you can audit all the different information that comes inside your data vault. And how we do that? So first you have your data vault with all the classic, I would say, source systems. You have some hubs, some links, and so on. Then you prepare an information mart that will be used for the AI system. Basically, that's what we did in the previous part. You are building your AI platform. But then you can actually test the different prompts based on some text that you have, samples, but we recommend to test it beforehand with 1 or 2 texts before automating all the process, because it will cost a lot if you are doing extraction of entities in several documents. It can be costly. And so that's why we recommend to test it manually first. And then you can use the orchestrator of bVault in this case to make the API call to any AI LLM provider, so Anthropic, OpenAI, Ollama, for instance. And you automate the process to extract the data that you need inside, to do the analysis and extract the data that you need in a JSON format, because that way you can easily put that in a staging table and then in the row vault, etc., etc. For this case, actually, to ensure that you will that the AI will provide a JSON and nothing else, Anthropic has a feature named structured output that ensure that your the answer of Anthropic will be always a JSON, for instance, and with the scheme, you can define the schema of your JSON if you want to. That helps the automation process as well. And then you put the output of the AI inside your data vault with the same rigor as the rest, meaning that you can also put the prompt and store the prompt that you used, the model that you used, etc., so that you can audit your data afterwards. And you see more and more, you see some new models every month, basically, some new LLMs, and you need to be able to test it and ensure that the data that you will extract with the AI is good enough. And you need to be able to test it against different LLMs. And that's why we recommend to also put the prompt and the model that you use inside the data vault, and you will have the historizations offered by the data vault as well. And you put that beside your extracted data, and you should be good to go to the end process, which is AI-enriched analytics, because now you can provide all the analytics, all the meaningful information from large text files inside dashboards, etc., because you can start using it to take decisions, actually, without having to read all the documents that you have, or the images, or the videos, and so on. So that's it for the 3 use cases that we have. And here I want to show you Destinator. Destinator is one project that we have at dFakto in collaboration with PCMA in the mice industry, actually in the US mainly. And the purpose was for event professionals to be able to search for destinations to organize events. The thing is that you can do that by searching in the different DMOs websites, but you have to know them. It's really time consuming. And what we wanted is to have a platform with all the data validated by an organization in this industry that is well known, and create an AI agent that helps event professionals to find the good place to organize the event. But to do so, we needed to have a lot of information from a lot of different source systems and different kind of information. So we had different source systems, classic ones, some text, some open data as well, and we needed to put that in one data model, and we choose the data vault solution, of course, for that. And we basically did the 3 different use cases that I presented you. We use them in this process. So how it works? So first, as I said, we put all the classic data inside bVault. So as I mentioned, we use ProPilot, the other tool of dFakto, to collect information from different destinations. But we also have data from different partners, and also we are also collecting some open data available on the web. And we put that in bVault, and then we generate 2 different outputs. So the quantitative information basically are just JSON files, and we are using Dust, so the AI agent platform that I showed you during the demo. We are using it. The advantage is that Dust is already managing the vector database behind it, but basically you can also use your own if you want to. And so for all the descriptive information that you can find in Visit Brussels, Visit France, or whatever DMO website you have, you can put that and feed that to Dust for qualitative information. And then I see that I just inverted the 2, but then you have also the quantitative information. And for that, we use an MCP server connected to the database to do the connection between bVault data and Dust, so that the Dust agent can do some queries to gather information based on the question of the event planner. And then we created a small web application for Destinator, which is connected to Dust AI agent. So basically, it's just an API connection between these 2 tools. And that's it. That's how we made our platform at the beginning. But then we wanted to provide the destinations some information, because all the event planners will ask some question based on specific requests, and destination want to know how many times they have been mentioned by event planners, but also by the AI system. But they also want to know based on which criteria they are chosen. And this is really important. But the thing is that this information is in a conversation between an event planner and AI agent. And so it's not quite easy to provide that information safely also to the different destinations. But what we did is that we used a third use case. So we used Anthropic in this case to extract the different concepts from the conversation between the event planners and the AI system, to extract the different locations that were mentioned, how they were perceived by the user and by the AI system, and on which criteria the match was made. And so we are feeding that inside bVault, and that allows us to create anonymized conversation, because anonymized analytics, sorry, because we are not providing all the different conversation to the destinations, but only useful informations from these conversation that we are aggregating, and we provide dashboards for that, even though the data is coming from large text files, basically a conversation between these two players. So that's it. Actually, that's how we made we made Destinator. But the thing is that now Destinator is being able to use data from different source systems, so that the event planners don't have to go to the different websites, find the different offices to get the informations, which, by the way, are controlled, I would say, by the different politics of the different destinations. Here you have data that is validated by an organization, an external organization, so that you can trust the data that is inside the platform. We use the semantic layer. Why? Because all the data that we had in different source systems, we put that inside the data vault with destinations, cities, countries, and so, etc., which are business concepts in this case. And then you see we had a bidirectional AI pipeline, because event planners are asking questions to the AI system, but the AI system becomes also a source of information for other players, in this case, destinations. And that's it. That's how you can build actually your data vault faster, but you can also use that data vault that you were using for classic business intelligence. You can now use it to create an AI platform, and you can ensure that the data that you will have inside are of good quality, that you will provide business context, your own business context, actually, and not a generic one that you will find in any LLM. So you can provide your own definitions of concepts and so on to the AI systems. And then you can also use that information that the AI will generate and use it inside your data vault, and merge it with classic data to create some AI-enriched analytics. And that's it for me. Do not hesitate to ask a question. I see that we have two different questions. How does the AI identify business keys? That was for, I will just go back here. That was for the first use case, I think, when we used the MCP server to create the business vault. Actually, this is the slide that is important for that is this one. So as I mentioned, human needs to align the different concepts, and that's why we are still leaving, at least at dFakto, we are still leaving the analysis to the humans, so that the humans can identify the different business keys, ensure that it is a business key and not a technical key, etc., etc. this is really important. You still need humans in the process, and it's a good thing, because otherwise I won't have a job if I don't need to do the analysis anymore. So basically, it's really important for that part to have humans in the process. There are some AI that can identify potential business key, I would say, but you still need to be careful with that, and you still need to review that before using, because most of the time the AI systems will just take the primary keys and expect them to be some business key, which are not always the case. And the second question, should an AI-generated data be stored in the business vault as it is not a transactional or auditable source system? That's a tricky question, actually, because in a way, they are computed. The data that is provided, they are computed, so you can store them in the business vault if you want, but it's tricky because it's not a clear defined business rule, I would say, that will generate the data. That's why we put them, at least at dFakto, in the raw vault, because we consider the AI system as any other source of information. And just in this case, it will provide most of the time unstructured information, but it's still a source of information. And in the business vault, I prefer to put all the transformation that I can reproduce myself, because if you are doing the same prompt with the same LLM twice, you are not sure that you will have the same answer both time. And so that's why we put that in the raw vault, so that we can replay it, and we can use the historization of the data vault methodology directly on this process also. But I would say you can, if you want to put that in the business vault, actually you can consider that it's some transformation and create them in the business vault. My only concern is that you need to create data vault entities with the historization and so on to ensure that you can reproduce, reconstruct the source, I would say, or at least test it, ensure that which prompt was used, which model, etc., etc. I don't see any more questions. Do not hesitate. If you have more questions after this webinar, do not hesitate to send it to us. We will answer them. You have the QR code here if you want to book a demo, if you want to discuss this topic further. And you will have also the replay of this webinar next Monday, I think. So you will be able to see it again if you want to, or to share it with your colleagues. And the webinar will also be available to the e-learning platform of bVault as well.